Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In this video I would like to show you how to configure SSH for multi-factor authentication using a private key and Google Authenticator. I would also like to show you how to set up a tunnel to a machine using SSH to connect to XRTP. Okay, let's do this. Here you can see a new machine that I'm just configured. It's basically pre-installed with FreeBSD and just has XRTP installed, nothing more. So let's start this machine. Alright, and let's now log into the machine. The background is currently black, so I don't like this so much. Let's change this to white color. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to install the PAM Google Authenticator. Let's do this. Once this installed, let's change to the new user and let's configure PAM. And now we run Google Authenticator. Google Authenticator. Do you want authentication tokens to be time-based? Yes, we want. And you can see here that we get a QR code, but also very important, we get the secret here. For the time being, I'm just going to copy this. So I'm going to start a new terminal and I'm going to paste the code into a file. Vim code. Now we could scan the code using a mobile phone, or we can install the OAuth tool. So let's do this. So I'm going to do a SU and pkg search OAuth, and we have here the OAuth toolkit. Let's install that. Alright, let's log out. And now we are ready to issue the first code. So we use OAuth tool --TOTP -P and we put the code here. Okay. After this we press enter. And we have the code. This code is going to change on, I think it's about every 30 seconds. So let's try to get a new one. It's still the same code, but you're going to see that if I run this again, it's going to change. Let's just try again. No, it's still the same. No problem. We copy the code and we paste it here. And the code is incorrect. Okay, let's try another one. Yes, the code changed and we paste the code here and the code is good. So we have some emergency codes that we could use. This is just a demo. I'm not going to copy them. Do you want to update the authenticator file? Yes, I want. Do you want to disallow multiple users of the same authentication token? Yes, I do. The next question, by default, a new token is generated every 30 seconds. By the mobile app, and here we can compensate for time skew, and we can have 17 permitted codes, and you can read a little bit on this, and compensation for time skew. Okay, let's enable this. Yes. Do you want to rate limit? So this means if you input the code 3 times wrong, you are blocked for a couple of seconds here, for 30 seconds. Yeah, let's enable the rate limiting. All right, so and we are set up. Let's just see here cat.google authenticator, and we have here the code. So this is the code that we need. Actually, I copied to a file, but I didn't really need to do this because this is stored in this file. We have a rate limit with 3 codes for every 30 seconds. The window size is 17 codes, so this is for the time skew. Disallow reuse, so we disallow reuse of tokens, and yeah, here are the emergency codes. Alright, so now let's go back to the FreeBSD machine. So here, let's clean the screen. And now let's configure SSH to require the one-time code. For that, I'm going to edit the file etc pamd SSH, because we're going to be messing around with the PAM, the pluggable authentication modules, for SSH. So here we can see that we have the auth, which is required, the account, the session, and the password. We don't need to have a look at this. To authenticate, this is the auth, we're going to add a new line, and here on top, auth required, PAM Unix, this would be for the password. Let's put here PAM Google authenticator, and that's it. So we add this line, we save the file, and that's it. We also need to enable PAM in SSH, so we go to etc SSH and SSHD config, and we search for the password authentication. Currently it's set to no, so let's set it to yes. So in the first trial, I'm going to configure with password authentication and the TOTP. And then we're going to change to a private key. Here, very important, we search for PAM with capital letters. And here, use PAM yes. We also type in challenge response authentication to yes. And we are ready to restart the service. Service SSHD restart. Now we go to a terminal and we try to log in. So we do an SSH Gaziba at 192.168.284. That is the machine. And we get a asking here for a verification code. For that we can start a new terminal and OAuth tool, or we could do this again in the mobile phone. TOTP -p. We put a code here and we get the token. We copy paste this, and now it's asking us for the password, and we are in. The machine is currently configured for password and token. It's already a multi-factor authentication because it's something that I have. I have a token, which is typically in my mobile, which I have, and it's something I know. I know the password. But now I would like to configure it with a private key. For that, I'm going to create my key in this machine. So SSH keygen RSA. Let's go for 1094 bits, and that should be it. And save it here. The passphrase. And the key is created. Let's go to the .ssh, and we have here the private key and the public key. We need to get the private key out, and we need the public key also. For what? We need the public key for the authorized keys. So we can copy the ID rsa.pub to authorized keys. So this file is configured in the SSHD, so etc rc.t, etc ssh sshd authorized. And here we can see that the authorized key files is under .ssh authorized keys. Now I need to get the private key out to be able to log into this machine. So let's do an SCP. So connection is closed. I'm going to create a new directory. And I'm going to SCP from Gaziba at 192.168.284 home Gaziba the verification code. We need to generate it again. We get the code. After a couple of failures with copy paste, we have our private key here. Let's try to log into the machine with a private key. So SSH private key ID RSA and we should be fine. Hooray! We can log into the machine using the private key. Now let's disable the password in the machine and let's enable authentication only with the private public key and the one-time password. For that, I'm going to do an SU, so go to root, and let's look again at the SSH configuration under etc SSH SSHD config. And now we're going to search for password authentication. No, we don't allow password authentication. We look for public key, public key authentication is enabled, yes. Authentication, okay, we need to type in authentication methods is public key and keyboard interactive. We are almost there, so we still need to look at the PAM configuration, and we are going to take out the PAM Unix and leave the PAM Google Authenticator only. Now I'm going to switch to another tab here because, you know, sometimes things go wrong and sometimes I make mistakes in the video, so I don't want to be locked out of the machine. Of course, I can still go to the Proxmox, but let's not go in this direction. So the first thing is to check actually, we come to this directory, and now I'm going to run here the OAuth tool and do end, and let's do an SSH to with this key to Gazima at 192.168.284. All right, let's try that. So here we get this. Of course, so let's try it again. It failed because I had some issues due to fat fingering, so let's try it again. So password for the here, and we're able to log in, and you might be asking, why was this the case? Okay, this was the case because, again, I forgot to reinitialize the service. Good, then let's log out and let's try it again. So save the file, service sshd restart. And now let's try again. So the passphrase, and now it asked for the verification code. All right, so now you saw it asked for the password of the private key and the one-time pad. Let's log out from the machine and let's tell it not to use the private key. And in this case, we get permission denied. The system is configured in such a way that we really require a public key, private key, and the one-time pad. Now, this was the first part of the video. In the second part, I would like to show you if you are exposing this machine, for example, on the internet. Now it has the one-time pad with the public-private key. And if you'd like to connect to an RDP session that is running in this machine, how can I do it? Well, I can establish a tunnel with SSH, and this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to go here above, and in the SSH call, I'm going to change a little bit, and I'm going to say -l, and in the local machine 127.0.0.1, I'm going to expose port 3389, which is the RDP port. And now one thing, I think I said it before, I have an RDP server running in the machine already, so I'm not showing how to configure. So just take it for granted that there is an RDP server running on the same port 3389. So this is running on the local port, on the local IP address of the machine. So at 127.0.0.1 on the machine on the 192.168.284. Yeah, and it's running on 3.3.8.9. So the first part is for exposing in the local machine. The second one is for the remote machine. Let's do this. Okay, I need to add a password, so sorry, -I, not a password, but a key, ID RSA. And now we can try again. Go. We can copy the code and we are in. It looks the same as before, but it's not really the same as before. Now I'm forwarding the communication on the remote machine on port 3389 to the local machine 3389. So let's start the Windows app in the system I have locally. And I'm going to put a local PC on 127.0.0.1 because this is what SSH is locally exporting. And yeah, I just put a display not to start full screen, and let's connect to this machine, to this local host machine. It's now asking me for some credentials, so let's just put here and continue. And as you can see, it's connecting to RDP localhost 127.0.0.1, and let's continue. All right, so we connected to the machine using the SSH tunnel. Not only this SSH tunnel is using a private key with a public key in the authorized keys, and it's using Google Authenticator. How cool is that? Let me just do one thing for bonus. So this is something that I like to do for my own machines, my own servers. So I'm going to edit again the SSH config. And what I'm going to do here is to add the following. I'm going to go to the end of the file. Okay, and you see here the subsystem SFTP, and there is the user libexec SFTP server. Let's delete this and let's call this internal SFTP. Well, this is not working currently, the internal SFTP, but I'm going to do another thing, which is the force command. And yeah, let's just put something. It's not the best place, but let's put it there. etc SSH and yeah, cmd.sh. We're going to create this file. This file is going to be run whenever you SSH to the machine, and it's going to decide if it is an interactive session. It's going to start Tmux that we need to install, such that when you connect to the machine, you're always going to get back your terminal, what you're doing before. And if you're SFTP, if you're doing SFTP to the machine, then the command is going to look that it's requiring an internal SFTP, and it's going to start a user libexec SFTP server. So first pkg install Tmux, and now let's create that file. etc ssh cmd.sh bin sh, and let's do an if ssh internal command. So it starts with this variable. If this is internal SFTP, that's the name that we gave. In this case, then, and we close here, if this is the internal SFTP, then we should execute user libexec SFTP server. Otherwise, we exec, I think it's, let's first say which Tmux user local bin. Of course it is user local bin, I should have known this. User local bin Tmux, And let's start with a new session. If the session is already existing, we connect to the main session. That's it. Very simple. Let's not forget to change mode. And we are ready to rock and roll. It didn't work. Again, why? Because I keep forgetting to restart the service. How dumb of me. So, okay, let's do that. Service SSHD restart. Oh boy, oh boy. Let's do it again. And there we are. When we log in now to the machine, we are connecting to a Tmux session. So we can say Control B, C, so we create a new one. So we have two terminals. Control B, W, we have here the two Tmux, and we can say Control B, D to detach, and we close the connection. And actually, let's see. Let me just show you how this is working. So let's start top here. So you can see this is really starting top. Control B, D, we detach, and now let's connect again. Copy paste. Of course it didn't work because the token has changed. And now when we connect to the machine, top is still running. How cool. Now, if we didn't do the command.sh, we could not copy files. Let's see. So I'm going to show you that SFTP is still working. Control B, D. And we had some, let's do SCP -I ID on Gazeba at 192.168.284 on home Gazeba.ssh ID RSA. Of course it didn't work because I forgot to say please copy to the local directory. This and yeah. Oh dear. I forget the token. So let's yeah, let's copy all these things. And let's take out these things here. And let's put it again here. So this generates the token. And I do the SCP because I need the token, otherwise I cannot log in. So then we put the password and we copy and paste the token. And this is exactly what should not be happening. Let me try to debug this and see what's wrong with this. All right, this video is having lots of mistakes, but it is what it is. So yeah, let's fix this. It's not SSH internal command, but original command. I think this should now work. Do I need to restart the service? No, I do not, because this is a file that is started externally. So let's try to SCP again. And now you see, actually, you actually saw the problem if you are not doing this command, because it actually goes and executes Tmux, and SCP does not like Tmux. We really need to start the SFTP server. So yeah, let's do this. It should be now correct with the original command, and we put the password and this one, and yes, it works finally. All right, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have comments or suggestions, please use the space down below. Otherwise, thank you for passing by, take care, and see you next time. Bye bye.